Today I'm going to talk about the sad day of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, which is going to take place this year on Motzei Shabbat, after Shabbat, Parashat Devarim, Shabbat Chazon. It's a very sad day where so many calamities occurred to the children of Israel all throughout the thousands of years. Especially the second Bet Hamikdash was destroyed for the sin of Sinat, Chinam, baseless hatred. And I wanted to concentrate a bit on the topic, which is a hot topic nowadays, especially in the international media, of unfortunately that racism takes place all throughout the world, in all the different walks of life, where people of color unfortunately suffer through so many painships and hardships because of different insults or different comments and different discriminations that take place. And it was actually notified in a magazine, The Business Insider, in July 2020, that in America itself, that there are, unfortunately, in 26 different categories, there was discrimination reported with people of color compared to the rest of society. For example, there was disparities exist within regards to employment to population ratio, within regards to higher poverty levels, within income and mobility also, and educational opportunities, along with different bank opportunities and everything else. There were a lot of discrimination that it had pointed out that there had been within the world, and people went to the streets even, we learned in May 2020, especially internationally, of all faiths, and they cried, "Stop the racism now, enough is enough, no more," because of feeling the anguish and the pain so many people suffer with when especially it comes when hurting other people's feelings within regards to, you know, insulting the color, the roots that the people come from. And so many people united internationally to protest it. Obviously, everyone wants there to be peaceful protests and peaceful requests and everything else, which has to be notified. And it's such a hot topic. Also in Israel, in July 2019, the Ethiopian community felt a huge amount of discrimination in different areas. As incredible a society Israel's got and so much excellent things taking place, the Ethiopian people felt that they were underrepresented. There was not equal opportunities for them. So they took out to the streets and many people protested. And many people in the Israeli government sympathized with them and expressed solidarity and good wishes for them. But unfortunately they felt these things and how painful it is. There was a publication in Australia that actually reported that racism, unfortunately, especially when it comes to skin color and within regards to roots, can lead to a bad effect mentally, within regards to stress, within regards to self-confidence, within regards to anxiety, and also can cause physical issues, also within regards to stress and mental issues and increased heart pressure and many different things, bad quality of life and loneliness. And that's how painful it is for the other person. And as a society, one should empathize for people of all different colors, of all different backgrounds, and have empathy for them. And this is very much, unfortunately, a hot topic at the moment across the world. Diversity should be celebrated inside this world and respected, as well as we've got all our differences which we should cherish. We should also understand where other cultures and other people are coming from at the same time, especially in the Jewish world. And 5 things occurred during Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av itself, what makes it such a bad day, unfortunately. First of all, there was the report the 12 spies gave, which we learned in Parashat Shelach. They gave a bad report on the incredible land of Eretz Israel, and it was punished, decreed on the day of Tisha B'Av, that over the 40 years in the wilderness, unfortunately, that generation between 20 to 60 of the males would sadly pass away as a retribution to this. The second calamity, respectively, was that the first Bet Hamikdash was destroyed. The third calamity was the second Bet Hamikdash was to be destroyed, obviously about the sin of Sinat, Chinam, baseless hatred, which I just talked about. The fourth calamity that had occurred during Tisha B'Av was when the Romans crushed the Bar Kokhba revolt, and in turn nearly 500,000 Jewish people died and destroyed the area of Beitar also. And the fifth calamity was when the wicked Turnus Rufus came and plowed the land where the temple was resting on, and plowed it heartlessly, carelessly, ridiculously. And that was the fifth calamity. Also, it's been reported that in the 1300s, the expulsion of the Jews from France took place, and the Spanish Inquisition itself took place in, I believe, 1492 on Tisha B'Av itself. And decrees occurred during the First and Second World Wars, respectively, and they were decreed during the day of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, or within those few days parameters, basically. And as a society, we should all be saying no to racism. And the second Bet Hamikdash, the second temple, was destroyed, as said before, because of the sin of Sinat Chinam. And this was so great at the time, such a bad sin, because it was a time period where Torah scholarship was at such a great level. There was so much other chesed going on and so many other things, but there was Sinat Chinam. Unfortunately, today we see racism everywhere, and something unequivocal happened, something incredible happened within the last few weeks in the religious society in Israel, where a publication called Mishpacha, they came out and they called out racism in the religious communities that had taken place against Ethiopian people, people of Oriental descent, people of Spanish descent. So many people can't get into schools. There's a website, the most popular Haredi religious website in Israel called Kikar Shabbat, that quoted 600 girls did not get into a school in just 2 months ago for the next coming years, into seminaries, religious, fantastic seminaries. They couldn't get in because they were, mostly, nearly the entire fabric of the 600 people were people from Oriental, Spanish and Ethiopian backgrounds. They didn't have a school because of this racism discrimination issue. And it's such a fantastic society where there's so much chesed going on, so much kindness, so much incredible Torah. It's such an incredible community to be in. But this is one of the things where, it's also faulting in and also lacking in. And the magazine Mishpacha called it out. They said no to racism. They wanted to try and argue against it, try and to celebrate the different cultures, to accept everyone else. And a lot of the times these people, they couldn't get in. It wasn't, people could say, why don't you go to your own strand of people, build your own institutions. But the issue for many of these people, there was no other institutions to send the people to, because a lot of the people are there. So many without the schools, and that's such a sad situation. But thank God so many people are fighting from it. And it reminds me of a story once where there's someone I know personally. His family went from one of the countries in Yemen 80 years ago to Great Britain, to the United Kingdom, and they lived in London. And 80, 70 years ago, for business purposes, the grandfather changed his family name to a very British sounding family name. And they lived there, went to school there, good Jewish life, good observant life. And many years later, about 20 years ago, he got married, the grandson, and moved to Israel about 25 years back, and lived a very religious community, incredible community. Because, it's such a great thing to be in a great community, Jewish religious community. But sent the kids to all different yeshivot, and the middle child was a star student in the yeshiva itself, inside this Torah place. And he was 15. Everyone was coming to him to ask him to help. There was entrance exams for the yeshiva for the next year at the age of 16 that they were coming. Everyone was coming to him for help, and he helped all the students because they all wanted to get in. This student did. Helped everybody. The family, top family, the father learning the whole time, paying all the fees, the incredible mother, Eshet Chayil. And the student was a star student. Helped everyone, and it came into the time of finding out who got accepted. And the friends came to the student, the star student, and said, we've got accepted, thanks so much for helping us. We wouldn't have got in if it wasn't for you. But then this star student found out he wasn't accepted. He did not get into the institution, to the yeshiva, this academy he wanted to get into. So the father said to him, what's the matter? There's a mistake going on here. This is a star student of the class, what's happened? So the person said he couldn't get in because there was an amount of people we could let in, and because of the Sephardi background, they couldn't accept him in. So the person said, there was no issue. You know my family name, and some of that got a British sounding one. Why should there be? This is a silly issue. This is ridiculous. But that happened. He didn't get in at the end, and the guy didn't stay necessarily religious. It was too late on to find a good yeshiva because it was a dead cert he was going to get in. And later on, a year or two later, he went to the army. Obviously a fantastic thing to do, also to serve for your country, and then fell off the derech totally, and is hardly religious, unfortunately. Maybe Bezrat Hashem come back.